Before I open the hearing for the Barnstable Conservation Commission, I would like to ask Angela to do a roll call for the quorum purpose.
Thank you, Tom. Abadili.
Present.
Hearn.
Present.
Lee.
Present.
And Tangney present. Administrator Ed Hoops.
Present.
And staff member Kim Cavanaugh.
Present.
We have 4 for the quorum and full staff.
Thank you. Acting under the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, and/or Chapter 237 of the Code of Town of Barnstable, the Barnstable Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, July the 22nd, 2025, at 6:30 p.m. for the applications of Baldwin Redcliffe, 260 Vineyard Road, LLC, Town of Barnstable, DPW, 103 Long Beach Road, LLC, care of Stephen D'Angelo. This hearing is being recorded and broadcast on the Town of Barnstable's Government's Access Channel. The plans and application are on file and may be reviewed by scheduling appointments by sending email requests to @hoops at 230 South Street, Hyannis. In accordance with the Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Section 20, please let the chair know if anyone is recording this hearing. Hearing none. Tonight's hearing agenda is posted on the town's website. On the agenda next to each application is the amount owed to the Town of Barnstable for the cost of advertisements. Please send the checks to the Conservation Division at 230 South Street before the hearing. Remote participations. The Conservation Commission's public hearing will be held by remote participation as a result of an act extension certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, signed by the governor on March 28, 2025, suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law. Remote public access to the hearing shall be provided in the following manner. 1. The hearing will be televised by Xfinity Channel 8 or High Definition Channel 1072. It may also be accessed via Town of Barnstable's Government's Access Channel. 2. The real-time public comment can be addressed to the Conservation Commission utilizing Zoom link 885-2381-7892 or use the toll-free phone number 888-475-4499 as shown on the agenda. 3rd, the public can also email the comments to edwin.hoops@town.barnstable.ma.us at least 8 hours prior to the hearing. For your information, the applicant for 260 Vineyard Road LLC has requested a continuance without testimony to August the 12th, 2025. Who else is here? Our town council, Charlie, do you have any update on the appointments committee?
I do know that they had to cancel today. They were supposed to meet today and they canceled. So the appointments hasn't met to move things forward to town council. Is Charlie there?
Yes, I am. Yeah. There was I think what you'd call a open meeting law kind of problem with today's meeting. So to be safe, we canceled it. We don't know when the next meeting will be, but as you know, that everybody who's up for re-election, I'm sure it's going to go smoothly. You don't have to worry about that. I think what we're hoping for is to get someone really competent and appropriate, for you, fit for your committee to take Louise's place.
Thank you, Charlie.
Yeah.
Good question. So, Charlie, as far as you know, the agenda, because that was posted with just the word canceled through it, is going to be the same, or you don't know that either?
The agenda for the appointments committee, it may change.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But, everybody who was listed on the, Pete and Tom were listed to be reappointed. I see no problem with that whatsoever.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie.
You're welcome.
May I ask Charlie a question since you opened this up?
Sure.
Charlie, town council has known for quite a long time that Louise was leaving. Why do they wait so long before they consider replacements for her. I mean, why didn't they do it like 3 months ago after she had submitted her indication she would not serve again?
I think the answer to that is we need to have people who want to come forward and join the committee.
But my understanding was the council didn't post it, or the appointments committee. Maybe I'm wrong, Tom, but my understanding was they never posted the opening or advertised the opening until after January, June 30th when she left. Is that right? Or my information wrong?
Well, that's something that the chairman of the committee does, and I'm not really sure what happened there. But I know that the word was out that we needed somebody. And we may have said it out loud at a town council meeting. It certainly should have been addressed, but you guys have a huge responsibility in this committee that you have. It's a lot of work, and it's hard to find people who are willing to volunteer for this. That's why we're so lucky that we have all of you, you know.
Well, that's an interesting comment, Charlie. Thank you, especially for an old guy like me that's been around for a lot of years doing this. But I'm kind of curious because I was told, and again, my information is secondhand, that this commission took a lot of negative comments were made at a fairly recent town council meeting about the commission, about the chairman. I don't think there's an understanding on maybe some of the town councilors as to what we do, what our limitations are. As you know, we can't deal with certain issues that are beyond the authority given to us by the town and state. And I'm not sure everybody understands that. I made a suggestion when I was interviewed a while ago. When I was chairman, the town council would schedule a meeting with the Conservation Commission and I think others. And literally the commission would come before at a town council meeting. Each person would introduce themselves, tell a little bit about themselves. Chairman would tell a little bit about what the issues are that the commission is facing. And then the town council could ask questions, make comments, maybe offer some constructive criticism in an open forum. And that kind of in the relationship hasn't happened for many, many, many years. So I'd kind of like to suggest that maybe, if you thought it was appropriate to reintroduce that kind of a get together with the commission and the town council. Again, I just get concerned because, we really do. We put in a tremendous amount of hours into this thing, and they're all voluntary. I mean, and I know, speaking for the chairman, because I was a chairman, that's a difficult role. You need to maintain control. You've got to respect the public and input, and it's very difficult. And I'm not sure everybody on the town council, again, I'm not sure appreciates the roles we play and the effort we put into it.
Yeah, I hear you, and I think that's a really good suggestion that you have. Part of the problem of being a public servant is, getting criticism. And I understand where you're coming from. I personally have absolutely no criticism of any individual on that committee. And I've said that to other folks,
Thank you.
And I want you all to, you don't know me. You really don't know me. I've been to a lot of meetings, but that doesn't mean anything because, we're not in person. But I will fight for any and all of you, no matter what. So I want you to understand that, and that if you have concerns, please feel free to reach out to me. And let me know what you're feeling and thinking. Because I don't want you folks to be going home at night and having trouble falling asleep because somebody said, we don't like Tom Lee. I mean, that stuff is going to happen no matter what.
Yeah.
And I'm sure this isn't the first time that Tom has been subjected to all the nonsense, but just let me help in any way that I can.
Well, what I would jump in and say thank you. I two comments to make. Number one, about your role. It's interesting because Paula was very good. Prior to that, the liaison to the town council was infrequently attending our meetings, and Paula changed that, and you added on to that. So I, as a commissioner, appreciate your role. I mean, you do enough. Yeah. And then you come to these meetings and you do even more. So thank you for that. Secondly, and again, having been chairman, vice chairman, and a long time in this commission, I will tell you, Tom Lee puts in more hours, more effort, and treats the public with great dignity. And Tom, I'm not saying that, but it's just true. You do. And true. I want the public to at least know my view on the role that Tom plays. It's phenomenal. Yeah, it's phenomenal the hours he puts in.
Oh yeah, I see that every day. I see that every meeting that I attend here, and I agree with you. But one thing, let me say something about my role in this, and then I'll keep quiet so you can move on to the business that's really you're here about. I've been told that I should be more active. I've been, told that I should. I don't believe in that stuff. I'll tell you why. The committee is a self-governing body. There should be no town councillor interfering in your actions that you take. Your chairman is the boss of everything here. And, having a town councillor, butting in to your business, putting pressure on you for one thing or another, it just isn't right. And so I'm just here. I observe. I don't expect to be asked any questions, but if you have a question, please feel free, as you have done in the past. But I do not think a town council should interfere in any way with the work that you do here. That's where I'm coming from.
Thank you, Charlie. One thing
Thank you for your support, Charlie.
And Charlie has been really open in terms of the communications, and infrequently, we have some email communications behind the scene just to keep him in the loop so he understands what's going on.
Yes, and I appreciate that, Tom.
Yeah. Now let's get back to the agenda. We have 4 NOI applications. The first one is the Belden Redcliffe, enlarge rear deck and convert to porch, modify retainage and driveway drainage, constructs detached garage, removes tree and plants replacements, install dog fencing at 11 Carlson Lane, West Barnstable, as on the assessors map 133, parcel 030. Arlene?
Good evening. Arlene Wilson, AM Wilson Associates, here for the Radcliffes. Let me try and share my screen. It says sharing is not allowed.
Sorry, try again, Arlene. Try again.
There we go.
It's technology.
Somebody knows I have trouble with this. This is the Belden property. It is about 2 acres, of which about half is abandoned cranberry bog and therefore wetland. The bog is about 24 feet lower than the house site. The entire 50-foot buffer is vegetated with natural vegetation. None of the project intrudes into the buffer. There's no mapped rare habitat on this site either. So starting at the southerly edge, we have unfortunately 4 very large trees that are immediately adjacent to the house and the deck. They're big and they're old, but they're a hazard for the house. And we're requesting that we be able to remove them. There is a dilapidated piece of retainage, masonry retainage, right along the edge of what is the yard, which we would like to be able to rebuild, probably with masonry block, in the same location and at the same height as it exists now. All it does in reality is separate the developed yard space from the natural vegetation and help to retain any drainage when there is excessive precipitation. There is an existing deck off the first floor of the house, so it's a whole story above the backyard. It needs to be rebuilt, including its support system. And the Radcliffes would like to extend it 3 feet along the face of the building so that it lines up with some windows in the upper stories. That means that the access stairs will also be reconstructed. Underneath that deck, there is now a storage shed and an open rinse station. Those will be replaced. The shed will be a little bit bigger than it is now, and there'll be some fencing installed around the rinse station. That the yard area is now pea stone, but it's silty clay underneath, so it doesn't drain. And the Radcliffes would like to be able to resurface that, either with flagstone or concrete, so that it's a more stable surface. It will be within the existing footprint, so it doesn't represent an increase in hardscape. There is a wing wall off the southwest corner of the house now. They would like to be able to relocate that, to push it back a little bit, give them a little more level area, and that will probably be rebuilt out of masonry instead of wood, so there won't be any leaching of any problematic materials. Moving over, for anybody who was out there, you know that there's a little depression in the driveway now, and the drainage runs over the edge. We're going to provide some constructed drainage to keep the water from running downslope in the future. This is a strip drain, or sometimes called a cow catcher. It just catches the water. There's no leaching here. There will be a pipe running from that with a flared end section and some stone to run it into a natural depression where it can leach into the ground. That area is landward of the 50-foot buffer. So this will, as I say, prevent any existing drainage from continuing to run down slope where it might weaken the slope. There is also a problem with roof drainage now. We're going to pick that roof drainage up and run it under the driveway into a leaching basin landward of the 100-foot line, so it's outside your jurisdiction. The Radcliffes would like to build essentially a one-car freestanding garage. 18 by 18. The construction of that building is about 80, need to take my glasses off, about 84 feet from the edge of the wetland. And it requires the removal, we believe, of 4 trees. So although the commission lately hasn't insisted on replanting trees that have to come out in the 50 to 100, we are proposing that we will plant 8 new trees south of the new garage and above the 50-foot buffer line. There'll be a mix of understory and overstory natives. The list is in the notice of intent. I would note that there is no requirement for mitigation for this project because the 50-foot buffer is entirely vegetated now. The last component of this project is the installation of a dog fence, about half of which is outside your jurisdiction. You'll notice that it's a rather irregular shape area for the dog. That's done so that we don't have to take any vegetation down in this area, which currently is mostly lawn. And it's the location of the septic system leaching facility. So we think overall, although the project has a lot of moving parts, it is beneficial in terms of fixing some of the drainage problems now, and with no requirement for mitigation and most of the work well beyond your 50-foot buffer. We think the impacts are minimal at best. And I'd be happy to answer questions.
Thank you, Arlene. Any question from the commissioner?
I'll just say something, Tom.
Yeah, go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, I visited the site in part to confirm the naturally vegetated 0 to 50, and it is certainly a jungle out there, and it's all naturally vegetated. And you have done a lot for the improved the drainage situation. I think that's great, and that you're throwing in those extra trees. Having taken some down, I think this is a good project, and I think it's well designed. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Angela?
Yeah, same thing. You beat me to it. Ditto. I walked it. It's well marked. The trees are well marked, and I have no problem moving this forward at all.
Thank you, Angela.
Thank you.
Any more questions from the commissioner? Channel 18, any public comment on this?
Seeing none.
None. Could I have a motion to approve this project as submitted?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Abadili,
Aye.
Hearn,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
and Tangney. Aye. That's unanimous.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
The next project is 260 Vineyard Road LLC to repair and maintain an existing revetment and extend the existing cobbles berm at 260 and 270 Vineyard Road. Contoured as shown in the Assessors Map 015, Parcel 006-003 and 006-004. And the applicant has requested for a continuance without testimony to August the 12th. Could I have a motion to continue this application without testimony to August 12th?
I heard a so moved.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Abadili,
Aye.
Hearn,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
and Tangney. Aye. That's unanimous, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. The next NOI is the Town of Barnstable Department of Public Works proposed maintenance dredging at mid-entrance channel and bus point boat ramp access channels to the previously authorized depths at 307 Millray Road, Barnstable, as shown in Assessors Map 301, Parcel 064. Jimmy is here, right?
I'm here.
Griffin. So Jimmy, you go ahead.
All right, I will share my screen. I guess I'll give a second here for it to get going. All righty. So my name is Jimmy Hill on behalf of the town of Barnstable. I'm Jimmy Hill with both Infrastructure and Environment, presenting the Barnstable Harbor Mid-Entrance and Blish Point Boat Ramp Maintenance Dredging Project. We have file number SE 0036296. This parcel is owned by DCR. It's been through the green docket process. We're proposing to dredge 1,837 cubic yards out of the mid-entrance channel, and then 506 cubic yards on the boat ramp. 102 of those yards can be done by land by the DPW. Impacts are to the land under ocean and coastal beach, land containing shellfish. Project also has a small piece within the ACC. As you see here, everything is south of that. And as well, we're in the heritage priority estimated habitat area. And so we have submitted a MISA review. We have not received comments, but we did receive comments from DMF. They proposed a time of year restriction, February through June 30th for dredging. We don't propose any beach nourishment for this project. The disposal site would be upland for this project. I don't think we're going to have enough time to get a suitability determination from the Army Corps. We have sampled under an Army Corps approved sampling analysis plan. This is also approved by DEP. So those results are with DEP. They thought the material is clean enough to go upland, and we just need to find a contractor that will move the material around to a land-based facility, offload at their facility, and truck it out to one of the sites in Dennis. Material is relatively clean. It's just silty, not really sand quality, and some shell hash, so somebody can use it. DMF also in the comments has a 25-foot offset to salt marsh and mean low water. I actually drew that in on the plans while I was waiting here. So from about this salt marsh area, we're well over 75 or about 70 feet there. We will have to do a little bit of intertidal dredging to clear the boat ramp, though. Like I said, waiting on the heritage comments. We do have all other permits in, so it's in Army Corps review. I believe it just went out to public notice for Army Corps. Chapter 91 dredge permit has been applied for, as well as a 401 water quality cert. We do have a $500,000 grant from the state for this project. All contracted work would be from water, and then the town DPW can take care of whatever's left on the boat ramp. I think that's all I have for you. I do have some photos of the site that I'll throw up here. So that's all I have. I'll take questions. Thank you.
Jimmy, do you have any comment from Waterway and Harbor Master on this?
No, Brian Taylor, Harbor Master, has been in support of the project. He's the one that authorized the survey.
Okay. So we're just waiting for the NHSP letter, right?
That's right.
Okay. Question from the commissioner.
Angela's got her hand up.
Yeah, I just got a quick one. More clarification. I wasn't sure if I heard correctly. So the material is not going to be suitable for reuse. You're going to just put it somewhere upland. I didn't quite understand what you said there.
It's not the sand quality that could go on a beach, but it could be reused for a silty purpose. I did contact Wayne Kirker, who has a site in Dennis, and he said he would accept the material. He just needs to review the logs that we got back, the grain size analysis, and chemistries were really low on contaminants. But he said he would most likely use the material. We kind of leave that up to the contractor. And I've done this project in the past, and kind of did the same thing. So.
And you leave it up to the contractor because of the time of year, or is it an expense to reuse it?
Yes, we typically put in the contract that they need to use their own facility for offloading. I know that the parking lot idea was used in the past. It's really not feasible anymore to dewater. So I think in the notice of intent, I did outline a dewatering plan. This is something I've seen contractors use successfully in the area. I think Bismarck Park, a little bit over a year ago, was done in similar fashion.
Okay, thank you.
John?
Hi, Jimmy. Quick question. When was the last time we did this dredging of Bush Point? I mean, how long ago was it?
2021 was the boat ramp. 2017 was this mid-entrance channel.
That was the one I was referring to, because this is basically a replication of that, is it not?
It's a maintenance dredging project, yeah, so it is.
Probably, are we going to be looking at, or is the town looking at having to dredge this? Because I voted over there, and it does fill in pretty quickly. Are we looking at it every, 6-7 year dredging of this area, you think?
So boat ramp, we've seen 3 years it takes for it to infill to about this level, 5 years for the mid-entrance channel. So they were done separately the last time. This time it lined up to do them at the same time.
All right. Yeah, I know it's a major expense, but it's also apt to keep that waterway navigable. It's really necessary to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Jimmy, what kind of time frame are you looking at if this project is approved?
I'm really hoping we can get all the permits by October so that we can do this in November.
Okay.
It is a quick turnaround. We're trying our best.
Okay. Any other question from the commissioner? Channel 18, any public comment on this?
Seeing none.
None? Jimmy, how much time do you need for the continuance?
Well, I think we should have had the letter. They give you 21 days. I would say that by the next hearing, we should have the letter.
The next hearing is August the 5th. Does that work?
I'll be here.
Okay. Could I have a motion to continue this applications to August the 5th?
Or just waiting for that, otherwise approving it, correct, Tom? I mean, you're not reopening the whole hearing.
No, yeah, we can approve this and then just subject to that. Let me do this.
Subject to NHESP letter.
Yeah.
Could I have a motion to approve this project subject to receipt of the NHESP letter for the continuance to August 5th? Right. Yep. Anyone second?
Second.
Roll call.
Abadili,
Aye.
Hearn,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
and Tangney, aye. That's unanimous.
And the quorum will be only the 4 here, correct, Tom?
Right. Right.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck, Jimmy.
Thank you.
The last NOI is 103 Long Beach Road LLC, care of Stephen D'Angelo, to raise an existing detached garage and rebuild a detached garage with accessory dwelling units, construct a screened porch, implement mitigation plantings, and all associated landscaping, grading, and appurtenances at 103 Long Beach Road, Centerville, as shown on Assessors Map 205, Parcel 017. Who's in here is Zachary?
Jason from
Sorry,
Bracken.
Jay.
Oh, sorry, Jason.
It's okay. Good to see you guys again. For the record, Jason Heyer with Bracken Engineering on behalf of the applicants, 103 Long Beach Road LLC. I'll share my screen here, pull up the plan. All right. Yeah, should be seeing the plan now.
Yep.
So the site is located at 103 Long Beach Road, down in Centerville, located on Centerville Harbor, and a couple wetland resource areas associated with the site. Land subject to coastal storm flowage. We have riverfront area coming off this Centerville River, located to the north. Barrier Beach as well as coastal dune. We have the coastal dune delineated off of the southern side of a small stone retaining wall that pretty much cuts the main dune system from the developed parcel. So as a part of the project, the applicants are proposing, zoom in, the applicants are proposing to raise an existing garage that's located just off the street here and rebuild a new elevated structure, an elevated garage with an accessory dwelling unit above. The top of the pier of which will be elevated 3 feet above the flood zone elevation and built in conformance with all applicable federal, state, and local floodplain design requirements. Another portion of the project, we have a screened porch that's proposed on the seaward side of the dwelling. The screened porch will be replacing a smaller sized deck that's there now. The rest is existing lawn area. That is heading no further closer to the coastal dune system. The whole site will be staked with erosion control, and then we'll be implementing some silt sacks in some existing catch basins out in the street, just to ensure no migration of sediment there. If you've been out to the site, you may have noticed this walkway removal that we've shown on the existing window here. That walkway is historic. I actually have a photo of it. It's located under the lawn. We probed down. It is located under the lawn. So we're proposing to remove that hardscape, although it is covered with grass, and that will result in a net zero hardscape within the 50-foot buffer zone. We do have a small increase of hardscape within the 50 to 100-foot buffer zone. So we are providing around 450 square feet of mitigation down in this area here. I do want to mention we are an NHESP as well on this side of the property. We have not received comment back from NHESP yet, so I don't think we'll be able to close the hearing tonight anyways. And with that, I think I got pretty much everything, so I'll open it up to the commission for any questions.
Thank you, Jason. Question from the commissioner, John? Angela?
John, you can go first, but I think your mute was on.
Thank you. Thanks, Angela. I was out there earlier and actually with Steve, the owner, but just wondering about the location of that mitigation. I noticed the neighbor, for example, has a flower bed, et cetera, or some kind of plantings that run along the stone retaining wall. And I was wondering if you've given some thought, instead of just bundling all up on the edge there, kind of spreading that out in front of the retaining wall.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something that I have discussed, that we've discussed with the clients. Part of the filing, we were hoping to follow up with a more detailed landscape plan, kind of nailing down the actual mitigation area, the final mitigation areas. The 450 square feet shown here should pretty much cover the additional hardscape in the area. But if that's something the commission would be looking for, we can absolutely incorporate that into the design.
I just think from an environmental point of view, you'd have a little bit better positive impact by putting all those plants in front of that retaining wall.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Angela?
Yeah, thank you, John. I have two concerns, and John just brought up one. One was the mitigation area seems to be more like a privacy wall with the neighbor than it does trying to help protect the resource area across the front there. And two, I'm not sure how you are considering that hardscape when it's buried under deep lawn right now. Like, it is not anywhere to be found. You have to dig to find that. So how are you using that in your calculations? It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, the idea was, it was going to be removed. If the commission doesn't see that as actual hardscape, we can revise the.
Yeah, I have pictures that are current when I walked it, and it's thick lawn. So what you showed is not at all a good representation of what it is. So I don't understand how any of the commissioners would consider that hardscape.
Okay, yeah, that's something that we can address for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Angela, excuse me, do you still think, Angela, that they ought to remove that from
Only if it's going to be in the way of where they put mitigation across the front, and that might only be one square of that old picture he showed. Because right now, everything that leaves the porch and goes under the lawn is deep under the lawn. You can't kick it with your foot and find it. I tried.
So you'd leave it there, and not count
Leaving
this.
the lawn, I'd leave it there. If they're digging up the lawn along the edge where we want the mitigation to be, then you would, of course, have to pick it up.
Gotcha.
Only
Thanks,
that's
Angela.
Good catch, Angela. Bill?
I noticed that the old garage is in the right up against the road, so to speak, and you're now going to get rid of that garage and move it, make the driveway the entire front of the property. And now you have a garage that's going to go into the 50 to 100 foot zone, and you make it a little bit, it's pinched out. Do you need to have the garage in the 50 to 100 and instead just simply make the entire garage parking lot, if you will, just the current width of it? Why do you have to move that onto the 50 to 100? You could actually have it set back a little bit, no?
Yeah, so the idea was some zoning constraints, trying to get it back off the street as well as off the side property line. It's kind of, with this property, we've got the riverfront on the other side. We're kind of pinched by a lot of different resource areas on this one. But the idea was for more zoning requirements to pull it back off the street.
But that means that the garage, that means that the original garage was contrary to the zoning rules, right?
Yeah.
It's like sitting right on the corner, right on the street.
It's like right on the street. But that's the idea, is to remove that completely, replace with a pervious gravel or shell driveway.
So I'm really supportive of what John Abadili said, which is spread the plantings sort of across the front. Obviously, you'd have a walkway that would be coming through it or what have you. But if you're not getting credit, if you will, for the buried stuff, then that means that you might end up having a bit more planting along that front. And so if that were to happen, I would be okay. It's too bad you couldn't keep the garage out of the 50 to 100. But I understand the zoning thing, I guess.
Yeah, we can take that under advisement, and I can, since we're,
I mean, if you can punch it back, it would be, cleaner.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So basically, right now, we're probably looking for a revised plans to have a revised mitigation calculations, taking the walkway hardscape that you are claiming underneath the lawn, and then spread the mitigation along the front of the retaining wall. That seems to be the approach. The other one that is not in here is any change in terms of your septic system connection stuff. It will be a revised plan.
The only thing with the existing septic, there was a variance granted from the Board of Health sewers coming down this way. I think it was within a year. So with that, there's a variance to maintain the existing system. There's no increase in flow as a part of this project. There's 4 bedrooms in the main house, and then there'll be 4 bedrooms once the project is proposed. So we will be coordinating with the Board of Health as a part of this project for sure.
But you have not submitted to the Board of Health, right?
No, not as of yet.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I have not seen it, so I don't know. But if it can be changed, that would be a revised plan. That's what I'm saying.
Gotcha.
Yeah, one other
Angela.
question, quick, Tom.
Yep.
Thank you. If he's doing a revised plan, I don't know if it's an error. It does say 3 bedrooms on their proposal, not 4. If they're keeping it 4, I don't know if that's a typo. It says it's a 3-bedroom proposed on the.
And the other one said 4, Angel. There was both a 3 and a 4 on that plan.
The existing, well, correct me if I'm wrong. The existing building has a 4-bedroom.
Yeah.
Now in the existing building, they take out 1 bedroom so that they can add that ADU on top of the garage.
Right.
To make it a 4.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. Makes
Right.
sense.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
10:18. Any public comment on this one?
Seeing none.
None. Could I have a motion to approve this project with the revised plans showing the additional mitigations, revise the mitigation calculations and the planting of the mitigation area? And then we need a continuance waiting for the NHGSP letter. Oh, how much time do you need?
I think we should be good by the next hearing. You said August 5th?
Yeah, the next one is August the 5th.
Yeah.
Do you want to see the plan? Have him give a plan that we would be able to review if we're going to have a continuance? No?
I don't think that's, I personally don't think that's necessary. I mean, we've done this 100 times. Ed will know what to look for when he gets it, but I'm
Okay.
happy with that. That's my own.
Okay, if you're good with that, I'm good with that. Okay.
This is kind of simple revised plan, speaking wise. So I make the motions.
So I make a motion to approve the plan as to be revised and then continue this waiting for the letter to be received.
Continues to August the 5th.
To August 5th for the letter only. I think that's fine. Right?
Right. All right. Anyone second?
I'll second.
Roll call.
So Abadili,
Aye.
Hearn,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
and Tangney, aye. That's unanimous, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Thank you,
Commissioners.
Yep.
That was August what?
August the 5th.
Yes.
August 5th.
We have one continuance. Sharon Smith proposal salt marsh protections and restorations at 0 and 87 Salton Point Road, Barnstable, as long as Assessor Map 2X0, Parcel 014 and 015. This is a continuance from June 24th. The quorum is everyone tonight. And Jan or Laura. Or Nick?
Yep.
Go ahead.
All set? All right. Nick Crawford, Crawford Land Management, presenting for the applicants at Salton Point. Lauren Taylor is also here with me from Crawford Land Management. I'm just going to kind of run through what we submitted most recently. It's a bunch of revised materials based on the comments and concerns that we had the last time we were before you. One of the questions was the amount of sediment that would be placed on top of the existing salt marsh in the areas where there was marsh dieback. And we went out there and shot some elevations, and that is the answer to that would be 1 to 3 inches in like 95% of the area, and 4 inches at a maximum. So it's not an extensive amount of material by any means. We submitted spec sheets for the oyster castles, which we're calling modular breakwaters at this time. The oyster castle is just the brand name, so to speak. We submitted a staging protocol and a construction protocol for the work that says ideally when the work would take place, how it would take place, and how long the duration of the work would be. We also updated our monitoring requirements to include shooting elevations on neighboring properties to ensure that there are no adverse impacts. As far as the footpath to the water, the only people who walk over 0 and 87 Salton Point to access the water are those with deeded rights. And those would be the owners of 87, 89, and 91 Salton Point Road. In response to we did submit revised materials about how, we would determine the success, whether it was a success or a failure. It sounded like at the last hearing, the commissioners were mostly in line with, we'll know within kind of 1 or 2 seasons whether or not this is something that's likely going to take or whether or not it isn't. We did submit revised materials that said that the bare spots on the marsh, the ones that will be top dressed with material, those were due to, it wasn't mats or anything that was deliberately placed by the applicants. It was just a sailboat that was anchored. And that's where it kind of rested at low tide. Presumably once the tide went out, it sat there. As far as boat launching and foot traffic was concerned, I know that one commissioner had questions about that. There is no, boat traffic. There's no launch for, motorized boats or anything like that. It's a private property, and so we wouldn't anticipate anything like that. Those are kind of the bullet points of what the commission was looking for at the end of the last hearing. And I'm happy to answer any questions that I can answer. And if I can't answer them, I hope that Lauren can. And if not, we'll get them.
Thank you, Nick. We have received a public comment email or letter from Haley Tighe and mentioning about those concerns that she listed at least 4 pages for that. So that is in the record. We also have an email from Amy Poto from the Natural Resource in supporting of this project, working closely with the Comfort consultants. And the DMF also sent us the comment letter on July the 8th. And so in terms of the shoreline stabilizations, they continue to support the applicant's proposal to protect the leading edge of the salt marsh with coral lock or matting, corbel and sediment and native planting provided there is a monitoring plant. And DMF continue to support the applicant's proposal to restore the elevations of this small salt marsh area landward and of the proposed fiber road array. A time of the year restriction should be observed to protect the sensitive life stage of horseshoe crabs. No sediment deposits of bank stabilization activity other than planting should be take place from May 1st to July 31st of any year to protect the sensitive life stage of horseshoe crabs. A short marsh monitoring plan has been developed for this proposal. Key details such as the expecting frequency of the regular check-in, weather conditions that would initiate and additional check-in, how and who will determine if an intervention is necessary and when will occur if the proposed project is not successful are included in the monitoring plan. DMF supports this comprehensive monitoring plan for the shoreline stabilizations. And then there is also a placement back of the shelf backs and the modular breakwater in the tidal area. At this time, DMF continued to not fully support placing shelf backs and modular breakwater within the intertidal area of the Barnstable Harbor. Barnstable Harbor is a very high energy system, and structures placed within the system have potential of becoming marine debris by becoming loose, stuck, or buried. In addition, this area is frequently used by commercial and recreational shellfish harvest. DMF maintained the comment that placement of the shellbacks and modular breakwater in the entitled area will display suitable and productive coax, raised clams, and shore shell clam habitats. I think that's about it. There is an updating, like Nick said, there is an updating monitoring plan in the revised submittal. So questions to the commissioner. Bill?
Yeah, I was impressed with the Department of Marine Fisheries letter. They basically were all in favor of the shoreline stabilization. And I think that's a good thing. And then they're left saying that they're not so supportive of the use of the shell bags and the modular breakwaters, and because it's a high energy system. And I can remember at our last meeting discussing this, I think there was a lot of, hey, good luck. And I was one of them. And it was kind of like, that is a point. It's Salton Point, and you're on a point there. And it just seems like a place where an actual salt marsh is not likely to take hold. And so I was thinking, well, if it's a failure, well, we'll pick up our toys and go home. Get rid of the blocks. And if it's a failure, it's a failure. We tried. But then since then I thought, if you had a really, serious nor'easter and they all got buried, it might be more difficult to figure out where the mess is you're going to try to clean up. And the idea of, well, give it a shot, it's probably not going to work, becomes a problem. And a point that the Marine Fisheries said is that you probably need a 404 and a 91 license with DEP. And I thought, well, if you need one for a dock, I'm not an expert on the Chapter 91 licensing, but it just seems like dumping a bunch of if you will, concrete bricks in or slabs, it may need that. And so I'm thinking that could be like a death knell. It'd be a real pain in the neck to try to get that. So I'm sort of less inclined to say, yeah, go for it, because I think it could cause you grief in the permitting process with the Chapter 91. And also, you might end up having a bunch of shell bags and cement blocks that are causing some long-term clogging problem that you don't even know how to clean it up. I have a concern there. And then one other point that they made is, well, we could put wood in. Well, on a point like that, submerging logs is gonna be a navigation hazard when a storm comes up. You got to know it. And so I think the idea of possibly just using logs instead of the cement bricks is a no-go in my opinion. So if the other commissioners are thinking, yeah, well, let's go with it, I could maybe go with it. I heard you say, Tom, that Amy Croteau was supportive of doing this. If Amy Croteau thinks, yeah, well, let's go with it. I could be going there, but I do think that the DMF has it right. Stabilize your bank, and you're probably not going to be terribly successful and might make a mess. So anyway, those are my thoughts. Thank you.
If I may, through the chair, I would just like to say in response to that we will be going and have to get a Chapter 91 license for this. But this is the first piece of the puzzle. First, we need permission from the Conservation Commission before we can go for the Chapter 91 license. As for if it was not a success and the blocks, for whatever reason, did become dislodged, I wouldn't anticipate that they would necessarily become buried. There's a pretty solid layer of peat that's still underneath this area, so it would be very difficult for them to kind of sink into the existing sediment. And one thing that I would like to point out is that just going back through historical aerial photos, is that as recently as 2007 and potentially a little bit more recent than that, we're just working with the Google Earth images. The area that we're looking to put these modular breakwaters was salt marsh at that time. So that, obviously it went away, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we can't reestablish it. And so that's what we are looking to do. And like you said, the alternative with, wood and logs, obviously, if they're buoyant, I would agree that that's not nearly as conducive to the modular blocks, which obviously will, even if they become dislodged, would not become floating debris. And I think it's reasonable to assume we could go out there and clean them up relatively easy if we ever had to.
Could I ask a question?
Sure, go ahead.
Well, they might not, if there's a peat layer under there and he's thinking they might not sink, but might not in some nor'easter, they get buried in they're there to accrete sediment. And so they might not just completely get buried?
I mean, that would be.
You have this sand berm, if you will, that's jutting out, not salt marsh on a point.
I think it would be, we would welcome that. That would be best case scenarios, that they do accrete and trap material behind them to further increase the elevation of the salt marsh that we're planting at that area. That would be my opinion, is that, if the landward side of those blocks were to become mostly buried, and I just want to say that, these blocks also have, they're hollow, they have cavities in them. So it's not just their interlocking nature that holds them in place. It's also the material that accretes behind them and within the blocks. So there is more than just this puzzle piece that's holding them together. It's also the material and the roots that we hope to get established through the entire block system. And you were right that Shellfish Amy did write a letter in support. We weren't able to get before them beforehand because of an elevator issue and something else before that, I think. But she did write a letter in support. She did make it a point to get that in for this hearing.
We did receive that, and then we make a special request to get that letter, support letter in. So I just want to make sure that we have some documentations of that.
Yeah,
So,
if she's in, I mean, I'm not like a big no. It's
no, I understand. But
Angela,
in the last hearing, we talked about it and it was mentioned, but I just want to have some documentation in terms of the support from the natural resource. So,
yeah.
Angela.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. Yeah, I'm still at the questioning I'll go back. Modular breakwaters is what you're calling them instead of oyster catchers or oyster castles. Is that correct? And this is a concrete, it's like a Jersey barrier, but for the water, 9-foot base and 4.5 feet high. That's what you're proposing to put in there?
That is just so they're not like Jersey barriers. Jersey barriers are like 5 feet long, 3 or 4 feet tall, and probably weigh close to 1.5 tons each. These are, it's more like a cinder block, but they're interlocking. And the 9-foot base, that is just an example that they show in the spec sheets of how they can be arranged.
Okay, so that doesn't mean that's what you're proposing at this point.
Correct. Hold on,
It's all right. I just needed clarification on the PowerPoint I read and looked at, and I want to make sure.
Yes, correct. That's just a spec sheet on, how they can be used, different arrangements to use them in, but they're all movable by one person by hand. It's kind of a reconfigured cinder block, for lack of a better term.
Right. And again, like Bill, I'm not against this project. I just have a lot of questions because I keep hearing things like this is untested and little chance of success from everybody else who has input on this. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't try it. I'm just saying that it comes with lots of concerns about trying something like this. And I remember reading that this would be checked on seasonally every 3 months.
Yes.
And within 1 week of a storm, because my concern is a major storm bringing sand and water on the other side of where this is, what will that do to that area? Like, how's that going to look on a storm washout or a nor'easter that goes through? And I remember somewhere I read it was going to be every 3 months. It would be seasonal updates.
Yes, I know that we were going to do storm checks in any weather event that had more than 50-mile-an-hour winds. I'm just going through the revised materials so that I don't misspeak about the frequency of monitoring. Hold on one second. Existing conditions. There we go. Spot elevations from neighboring properties. Hold on one sec. I'm just scrolling through it.
That's all right. I just remember reading it, but now I don't have it in front of me, so I want to make sure that was in the record.
I think it was. I think I saw it, Angela. But
okay, all right.
Make sure. I think your point is very valid.
Correct. It looks like we specified reports due every quarter, most for lack of a better term, November 30th, February 28th, May 31st, and August 31st. And then if there was a weather event that qualified per what we had deemed a significant weather event, those would be submitted within 2 weeks of the event.
Okay, 2 weeks. Okay, thank you. Because I noticed you brought up that we'd know right away if this wasn't working. Well, we'd also know right away after the first storm. So I just want to make sure I had read that correctly, that you'd be looking at that as well. Thank you.
Yes.
The monitoring plan that you're mentioning is have a revised date of July the 14th, which is in red. All the changes are in that red under that plan.
Did we get that?
It's all in the package.
Yep.
It was in there. I don't know if the colors,
On
but
July 14th.
Yeah, so it's dated July 14th.
yeah.
I was on vacation this whole week. I forgot to see it.
Thank you, Tom. Yes, I found
Just
it.
got back.
I read it this morning.
It's interesting, Bill and Angela, because I think the concerns both you folks made are absolutely right on, legitimate concerns. I should, except maybe for the permitting one, Bill. That's their problem, not ours. But I'm glad they've got to do it. I do think, and I'm like you. Boy, there's some risk in this. I'm on balance saying, if we can impose the correct monitoring plan, clear understanding and condition relative to if it does fail, what the applicant's obligations are, my leaning is, well, we got to go for this thing in the end. I think it potentially the upside benefits are significant if it works. What's the probability of it working? Well, let's say it's pretty low. So if that's the case, I sit there and say, then boy, I want to be right on top of that relative to both monitoring and a clear obligation on the part of the applicant. So I'm overall in favor of this, but clearly agree with both you and Angela relative to the concerns you folks raised. I agree with both of you on that. That's my view.
Thank you, John. I think this is a kind of the project we should try and see how it goes. It's a new way of doing things, and I think with the monitoring plan, it's important to keep track of what's going on and stuff like that.
Tom, what was the length of the monitoring, though? I know Angela brought up frequency. What was the total length of monitoring?
It did not specify, but I'm thinking like 10 years, because otherwise it would not be useful for, let's say, a couple of years and that sort of thing. So
I would like that change. I think that's a good suggestion in my view.
10 years. Could I make a comment, Tom? The last time there was a neighbor, and they were concerned about the potential impacts to the neighboring property. And there was talk about, yes, the monitoring could it was like we could be monitoring that property as well. I can't remember which side of the project it was, but I think that we really should be having a monitoring program that's ensuring that if indeed we are slowing down the waves coming onto that property, that there's not some effect on neighboring properties. So I think that the monitoring has to extend. I mean, right?
No, I think that is the revised monitoring plan.
You do have that.
I did check back in the revised materials, and it says 5 to 10 years. So we'll leave that up to you as to, if 10 is more beneficial, obviously, I mean, it can't hurt. We would defer to that. And then we did put in the monitoring requirements that we would, our biggest, the one thing that we would potentially be concerned about here would be a loss in elevation on neighboring properties, which would adversely affect the salt marsh. So that is in the monitoring plan, is to take elevations on the neighboring properties, and that is also referenced in the restoration plan itself. I believe there's a few, we have benchmarks on the property line. So obviously we know the elevations, and we have spot elevations on neighboring properties as well. So we would know, we would be able to check that within, 1/10 of an inch.
Yeah, good.
Thought the revisions you did was very responsive, made me a little bit more comfortable saying you've really addressed these issues fairly well that came up at the first hearing, as well as the letters that we received. So that's why on balance, I'm still a go.
Agree.
Yeah.
Agree. And then just quickly, and cleanup as well. If these things get blown around in a storm, you're taking full responsibility of cleaning them up.
Absolutely, and I just have
that's your bippy on that one.
absolutely, and if this was obviously it's a concern of yours, I was thinking there could be something that we could do to, if there was a storm event that was able to dislodge these, and obviously there's a storm that can do anything, there's a way that we could make them less susceptible to. Not necessarily anchor them, because the weight of them and the material within them and the roots anchor them. But I'm thinking more along the lines of, we could, like a fiberglass installation with the 1/4-inch steel cable. We could run a cable through them that attached them in groups of 15 or 20, so that they stay together, if and when, or if it happens. And
sounds like a good suggestion.
Yeah.
Ed, do you have any comment on this?
No, I think they've more than adequately addressed the all of the comments and questions the commission had from last meeting with this current revision. I think ultimately it comes down, sure, there are risks involved. This is an intriguing project right from the get-go, which, as I've always said. I think, giving this a run is actually kind of important, because you need to have these types of projects are probably going to have to become more necessary in the future as sea level continues to rise, storms continue to get worse. So I think if we have a situation where we can apply it and try it, we should do it. I think they've done more than a competent job of assessing potential problems and addressing what they would do if those problems did arise. So I think we should try and at least I would give them the opportunity to at least try it.
Thank you, Ed. 10:18. Any public comment on this?
Seeing none.
Yes.
There's somebody just said yes.
yeah.
Somebody public.
Stephen Bates.
Yeah.
Do you want to?
Oh, okay.
Stephen?
Thank you very much for having an open meeting, and a lot of concerns were addressed, but I would like to talk to a few of them as the abutters. Haley Tyree had put in a letter. Hopefully people can see that.
Yep. We did receive that comment. We did receive that letter.
Okay, fantastic. I knew people were on vacation. If we go to the, just a couple of quick things. If we go to the,
Stephen, before you go on,
yeah.
Can you tell Kim the address? Can you tell us the address?
Yes, I thought it was in the letter, but we're at 93 and 95 Salton Point Road.
Okay.
The abutters directly to the east.
Okay, thank you.
And Haley was supposed to be here. She had a family emergency, so I'll try to do it justice for her. I'd like to kind of take a look at the page that shows page 4 of the submitted items. And on page 4, if we take a look at 2007, in front of our property, which is to the right of this, to the east of this, there is, and you can see it a little clearer in the 2021 page, there's a whole bunch of rocks, boulders that are out in front of our property that in certain storms have been misplaced all over the harbor. When the water comes in, it actually comes by both houses, 87 and 95. And I have where you can see the printout of the address of 87 Salton Point Road. We pick up salt marsh relatively a lot from there, and the waves hit the front of that cottage. So when Bill was talking about high energy systems there, that house to the left where 87 was, and earlier on, a little bit lower, was taken out into the ocean and rebuilt there. So we do have a lot of high action there. I think we've talked about what happens if there is catastrophic failure and these Jersey barriers, cement blocks, et cetera, go all over the beach like the rocks have. I'm just kind of concerned that it isn't as strong in writing of what we're going to do that would make sure that we don't have to go through any type of action to try to get these cleaned up. If you look at the property over time, we have 2007, which is a little blurry on this page, in 2021. If you look at it over time, you'll see that the property in front of it, and I assume that the Conservation Commission has done that, the property in front of it has had a wall placed in there, it's had cement placed to that wall, it's had loam put in, and grass is now put in there, which is fertilized and cut, which could be an issue for nutrients that run down into that bank. It's right in front of that bank. So we've done all of that. We've done all of those changes over time. But the description of this says that there isn't much foot traffic, and then they were talk about boats. But if we turn the page to page 5 of the project narrative and timeline, the upper page is Salton Point. That's the banking where everybody goes fishing. People come down from Salton Point, walk down there. As a matter of fact, the new owner of there has police reports of people fishing down there, although he learned that you can fish down there underneath high tide mark. So people do come across there. I talk to the fishermen all the time. I fish down there. And people on page 3 is, on the same page 5, the areas which one had salt marsh, that's all seeded on the right-hand side towards the yacht club, and then easterly towards Kent's Rocks have seeded shellfish there. And I heard that you had a comment that commercial shellfish and regular shellfish went in there. Saturday, I was there to get enough chowders to make a nice chowder this week. And there were 10 people down there with me on this particular Saturday. So there is a lot of foot traffic that goes by there. I just was pointing this out because That's inaccuracies in this report, and I find it concerning. If you go down to the page underneath that where it says salt marsh grassroots material, still on page 5, this is where there's a walkway there. Today there was a kayak and a personal flotation device that was loaded down there into the water. In the last week there's been sailboats, crew boats, and that is how the occupants of 87 and that area get to their 2 moored boats that are right outside in the harbor. So I think boats, when they say there isn't boat launched, I would submit there isn't any motorized boat launch like we saw earlier in Barnstable Harbor, but there's a lot of traffic that goes down there because it's not only just the occupants of that, as was said, that is a rental property as well as the back rental property is there, and there's 4 cars down there right now renting that property with people walking down and forth. So the issue is that I want to make sure that we're accurate on these reports and that people say what is actually going down there. If we turn to page 9, this is very small thing, but if we actually go forward, and I hear people are leaning to go forward, it says equipment will be refueled off-site. If equipment must be refueled on-site, I'd like to have that strucken because I don't really want in this area refueling going on of commercial vehicles. If the Conservation Commission would consider that, if they approve it. But mostly I'd go to page 30, which shows the cement blocks, which were said were made of cement later on in the materials. This going down in those 3 actions, talk about navigable. If this is underwater, many boats go by there, and are they going to be marked? Because rocks would be marked like that if they were on the shore. That water, that pace where they are in the 3 areas that they're going to see are definitely underwater most of the time, from half tide to full tide. And as I said, the water is sometimes in the winter coming up past the houses. So is on page 30, this navigation of items, this is what we're going to see after I've lived there for 65 years. Is that what I'm going to see for the next 10 years, whether it's successful or not? And I'd like the conservation to not only consider, let's just take a chance, but what does that chance entitle, both to the abutters and what I have to see from my property? So if we go to the letter that was just on July 14th, and I'm with you, Bill, I'm having trouble keeping up with all of this. I was surprised that the board requested, specifications of the modular breakdown that the state would approve concrete placement in wetlands, because everything I've read said that they wouldn't, but I guess that's beyond this committee. And I'm trying to move along with haste because of respect for your time. But if we go to paragraph 1 on the 2nd page, this is where I get where shellfish and fish below the property line and itself is further landward is rarely used. And I actually not only can provide proof of that, it is not rarely used. People walk down here all the time to enjoy the water, to enjoy the shellfish, to enjoy fishing from that point, which now the occupant of that allows people to do, even though he's put up signs to keep them from doing it. They're not allowed to do that. And on the last paragraph where they raise concern about boat launching and foot traffic, I've addressed that. There's plenty of foot traffic. And if you consider personal boats and floats to be launched there, there's many things that go back and forth. And what I'm afraid of is that after they put these large barriers all the way out in front of their property, that to get to their boats, they will now come over our property and further degrade the property that was there, because you're not going to be able to get by these concrete Jersey barriers to get out to their boats. They're going to have to go out and transfer it and go somewhere else. I like all the things that they've said. I'd love to save the shoreline. I'm worried about what it will do to my property, our property in the trust, that I've been there for 65 years, my grandfather before that. And I'm worried about what would happen with failure if we don't tighten it up. I like the concern. I like the documents. I like what they're being saying. I like the end goal. I'm with where you read that I would like to see them shore up the shoreline, but not go out 3 more barriers out into the harbor, which will keep people from being able to get to their boats and cause people to go to different transfers. Thank you for listening. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Steve.
Hi.
Who's that? Hello?
It was Dana Hamilton, but there she is.
Hi. Hi, I just wanted to clarify one thing. I'm the owner of 85 Salton Point, and there is no fishing allowed on that point. We allow certain friends and neighbors, and this is what the sign says, but without permission, there is no fishing allowed on that point. And in fact, we're very much engaged, not above the high water mark. Again, anyone can fish foul or navigate below the high water mark, but above the high water mark, it's not allowed. And we're very much engaged with various parties on that point. So I just wanted to clarify that for the record.
You correctly cited Massachusetts Commonwealth law on fouling navigating.
Thank you. Somehow people don't want to follow it. So anyway, thank you.
If Pig is here, he definitely will mention that. Any other question? I mean, any other comment from Channel 18?
Seeing none.
None? Let me try this. Could I have a motion to approve this with the 10 years monitoring report, and then there will be no refill in the area, if we offsite refilling for any equipment stuff during this installations. Is there anything that we're missing? Oh, if there's any coordination, you need to coordinate with the conservation staff and the natural resource.
Marine fisheries wanted to get updated every 3 months as well.
You should go to them.
John, what did you say?
As Bill said, a copy should be sent to them.
Right.
Yep.
That's all I can think of right now.
You got the season for the horseshoe crab. I think they had in there.
Yeah, that's with the DMF letter.
And Tom was specifically incorporating this revision because that was critical. So
right, the monitoring plan is dated July the 14th.
Right.
Revised.
Yeah.
Material.
And Tom, you're also including the revised project narrative methodology, also dated 7/14. The revised plan for salt marsh restoration plan dated 7/14, and the existing conditions plan revised 6/2/25.
Correct. Yeah, all the
good addition, Ed. Good addition.
Yeah. Yep. All the revised.
I would make that motion with all those things into it.
Anyone second?
Second.
Roll call.
Abadili.
Aye.
Hearn.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
And Tangney, aye. That's unanimous.
Thank you. Good luck, Nick and Lauren.
Hope it works.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. So do we, and we'll keep you apprised of the Chapter 91 stuff when we get there.
Yes, please. We have one certificate of compliance. David L. and Lisa A. Lawson's trustee, SC3-56X6. Could I have a motion to approve?
Hello.
Second.
Roll call.
Abadili.
Aye.
Hearn.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
And Tangney, aye. That's unanimous.
We have one set of minutes, July the 8th.
I make a motion to accept the minutes from July 8th.
Second.
Roll call.
Abadili.
Aye.
Hearn,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
and Tangney, aye. Minutes are accepted.
And our next meeting is at 6:30 on August the 5th. Could I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Abadili,
Aye.
Hearn,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
and Tangney, aye. That's unanimous. It's 7:59.